Right now, somewhere in your body, a survival system built 300,000 years ago is still running. You've never turned it off. You've never even noticed it. It only wakes up at night, and tonight it's going to activate the second you turn off the lights. Here's the strange part. That system wasn't built for silence. It was built for firelight, low voices, and a very specific kind of danger. For almost the entire existence of your species, there was no light switch. When the sun dropped, the world didn't go quiet. It transformed into something else entirely, with its own rules, its own risks, and its own purpose. And your ancestors didn't fight that transformation. They built an entire second life inside it. So what did they actually do once the dark came in? You'd assume sleep. Immediate, total, uninterrupted sleep. But historian A. Roger Ekirch spent years digging through diaries and court records from pre-industrial Europe, and he kept finding the same strange phrase over and over. People described a first sleep and a second sleep. They'd drift off shortly after dark, wake naturally in the middle of the night, stay quietly awake for a while, then fall back asleep until morning. This wasn't insomnia. It was simply how nights work before anyone thought a single unbroken block was normal. Now push that idea back even further, past candles, past clocks, all the way to the earliest humans. Neuroscientist Jerome Siegel found a way to test it directly. He studied 3 hunter-gatherer groups still living without electricity today: the Hadza of Tanzania, the San of Namibia, and the Tsimane of Bolivia. No screens, no streetlights, nothing artificial standing between them and the actual sky. What he found broke almost every assumption people have about natural sleep. These groups didn't sleep longer than you do, often less than 7 hours. And they didn't go straight to bed at sunset either. They stayed up, sometimes for hours, doing something that looked almost pointless. They talk. Why would talking in the dark, doing nothing productive, be worth staying awake for? Because daylight left almost no room for it. Anthropologist Polly Wiesner recorded conversations among the Juhwanzi Bushmen and compared what people talked about during the day versus after dark. Daytime was almost entirely practical. Complaints, disputes, who wasn't pulling their weight. But once the fire was lit, the entire tone shifted. Night conversation turned into myth, storytelling, jokes, memories of people long gone. These stories carried the tribe's values forward without ever sounding like a lesson. The fire wasn't just warmth, it was a switch. Flip it on, and the tribe stopped managing logistics and started building culture. But that same darkness was also actively hunting them. For most of human history, night belonged to something else. Predators that could see far better than your ancestors could. Movement in the grass just past the edge of the light. Your ancestors' eyes weren't built for that world. Fire and each other were the only real defense they had. And that's likely still running inside you right now. That flicker of unease when a room goes dark, even in a locked house, even in a lit-up city, thousands of years removed from any actual predator. It isn't irrational, it's inherited. Your nervous system has no idea the threat is gone. It only knows that historically, darkness was never fully safe. So every night, for hundreds of thousands of years, two forces pulled against each other at exactly the same time. Danger, pushing people to stay close and stay quiet, and freedom from the day's labor, pulling them toward connection, storytelling, and rest that wasn't only about sleeping. Here's what's almost unbelievable. None of it was regulated by a clock. Sleep timing tracked temperature. People tended to fall asleep as the air cooled after sunset and wake as it warmed again near dawn. No alarm, no schedule, just the world itself, telling their bodies exactly when to shut down and when to start back up. Now think about your own night. Streetlights, a phone screen inches from your face at 11 p.m., a thermostat holding your room at the same temperature in December as July. Every single cue your ancestors relied on has been quietly removed from your environment, and your body is still trying to read signals that mostly aren't there anymore. That might be exactly why you can feel exhausted and wired at the same time, lying there at midnight, unable to fully drop off. You're not broken. You're not doing something wrong. You're just running Firelight software on a world that replaced the fire with a screen. Somewhere underneath all of that noise, your ancestors are still there, not sleeping the moment the sun went down, not treating the dark as empty, building an entire second existence inside it. One fire, one story, one quiet, watchful hour at a time. So tonight, when you flip that switch and the room floods with light, remember what you're actually doing. You're not just avoiding the dark, you're overriding a system 300,000 years in the making. And somewhere underneath all your modern comfort, it's still waiting for a fire that isn't there.